Alright. Here goes. More Kerbal Space Program. Let's make it happen. I have a long agenda for today. I already have stuff breaking on me. There we go. So, we left off in an interesting place yesterday with the Valentina Carmen Station deciding once again to wiggle itself to death. But it's still salvaged to some degree. We're going to start doing some interesting science. First, a couple things I want to do. I'm going to refuel the lander. I'm going to set up a lander for a dry run landing, just to test it out. And while that's happening, we'll now, thanks to the loss of the second fuel tank, we'll be completely in line. We'll be able to correct our messed up orbit of the station, and then also reorient some of the parts here, because some of them are twisted, courtesy of all this strangeness that happened. So I just need to refuel the lander. It is an automated lander, so it can operate without any crew. Mostly so I can put scientists down on the single man lander. So we'll refuel that real quick. We'll make sure all the fuel reserves are at full. Get the sucker ready. Alright, so that's the main fuel tanks. Check the side tanks. This time, these side tanks don't detach, unlike the one-use lander we had. This one will be totally reusable. Alright, and dump a little fuel in here. We'll set this lopsided tank to burn its fuel first, so we're balanced for the actual landing. Try and move some monoprop over, although I actually am kind of low on monoprop, come to think of it. Thanks to all these weird issues we've had. Yeah, I've only got 213 units of monoprop, and most of it is going to be in here. So I'm just going to trust that this is going to be enough for this thing. I'm just going to roll with it. I want to see how much this wobbles if I aim it as well. Not a lot of wobble. There's definitely some wobble. Don't get me wrong. But not a ton. I think this is just going to be better off if I do not activate any of the autostrut. Anyway, I'm going to undock this. Lander drift off and do its own thing for a little bit. I won't worry about doing the landing just yet. Really just kind of float around for a minute. There we go. More worried about getting the station organized at the moment. Namely, we've got this just give us a little bit of distance, shall we? Tiny little burn. There you go. Fly away. Okay. Want to correct these so they're all level. So that means we're going to have to... Actually quite a bit of adjustment, I think. Unless I just don't want to adjust this one. I think I might be okay with that one. One doesn't really have like an up or down that makes any sense. Kinda does. Yeah, let's fix this one. God, I hope I left some monoprop on there. Sure didn't. That's fine. Whatever. We'll make the station go to it. That's always a thing to check. If you're going to disengage a component of a station and you want to reconnect it, make sure it has monoprop. Alright, we're going to have to turn on RCS, and this is going to get ugly. It's going to be navigating an entire station. Unless this has monoprop on it, which I don't know if it does. It has some. Well, we did have to do that anyway, so let's... Forget it. Let's undock from there. Go and rescue your comrade. Control from here. Source target. Nope, no RCS yet. Thank you. Here. So we'll go and rescue that, and then we'll bring it back to the station. More organized. Now we're going to turn off RCS. We're going to control from here. We're going to make that our target. Which means we have to... There we go. Smooth as can be. RCS off, rotation on, flip into position, RCS on, linear on, brake, correct, so we don't go sliding out of position here. Okay, RCS back off. Rotation now on. Line ourselves up a little better. That should do. RCS, linear. Textbook. Here we are. Alright, got that little bit of peskiness aside, just to get everything lined up the way it's supposed to be. Actually lined up pretty good. Didn't come out so bad. Don't worry about the station later. Now the lander. Actually, am I in position to start correcting the orbit of the station? We're in probably like exactly the wrong place, actually. So I wanted a consistent 50,000 meter. You can see it dropped pretty far on this side and raised pretty far on this side. And that would be because we had a radial shift as a result of some of the madness that we had. So if here we do that radial shift, it should bring us to 50, 49, pretty close. Nope, more this way. Alright, that's going to be the closest we get. With one maneuver, at least. Or at least a maneuver starting there. Nope, so. Let's go over to staging mode. Let's aim. Maneuver coming up in 4 minutes, 50 seconds. A little worried about trying to do that at full thrust. I think that might not be a good idea. Oh, that is on auto strut. Why is it now on auto strut? Thought I disabled all that. That is too. Weird. I was fairly sure I disabled all of that. Alright. Maybe we'll be okay at full thrust. I think I'm gonna put it to half though. Ah. Yeah, we can go way less on thrust. It was trying to navigate us with just monoprop here. 12% sounds good. So let's warp to maneuver. The station looks totally silly at this point. It's been hamstrung by multiple random explosions. All seemingly due to auto strut. Let's see what that maneuver did for us, or if I need to tweak it anymore. 49.3. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was looking to do. So we now have a corrected orbit in that regard. I do want to make this... it's kind of pesky. It's kind of at an odd inclination. I wanted to make this level inclination with the mun. So I believe this Yeah, that has the correct inclination. Yep, that one's level. So we're going to use that as our reference. For inclination correction. That's a significantly more intensive maneuver. We'll slightly upthrust this. Once again, we'll warp to it. Just realized it's probably not a good idea to time warp a station either. I think I learned that the hard way with Brilab. Way back in the 2014 season. So probably not smart. Don't know why I was just doing that, but that's cool. Everything came out okay. Nothing exploded. Yet. So at 3 seconds to maneuver. We'll start our burn. Pretty close. Yep, 0.0. We're fine. So, it does mess with our orbit again. I should have thought of doing that first, but I didn't. So we need to do another radial change. $50.5, $50.5. That would be a perfectly circular orbit, more or less. So I think I'll take that maneuver. Need to turn the thrust way down. Odd that the burn time is slowly changing. What the heck? I really have no idea how the burn time is magically changing just with rotation. Okay. Alright. It's only rocket science. No big deal. That's very confusing. So we'll wait until that maneuver. I will time warp again because it did work fine last time. I'm going to hope it works fine again. Trying to be very gentle with the station. It's already been through a lot. 1 damaged unusual science module, 2 exploding or sheared apart fuel tanks. Almost there. Make up a little bit of a correction. Just aim dead on target here. All right. There we go. Equatorial, more or less. Circular, more or less. Good enough for me. Now we still have the lander going around. At a convenient time, we can test this sucker out. So first things first, we're going to want to go to a lower orbit. Controlling from the right place. So this will be the kind of routine we'll be following, doing normal moon launches from the station, moon landings. So this should be kind of interesting. Let's go for a 20,000 meter. So much tighter orbit, but still safe. So we'll get ourselves into a stable orbit, eject the docking harness thinger we got there. Well, I don't know what else to call it. I just call it a docking harness. I don't know what the equivalent would be in real life here. And we got 21 minutes till our maneuver, so we're just going to time warp it up. Because why not? What happened to our, oh, that's a probe. That's what happened to it. Ooh, that's coming up on its temperature scan there. That could be nice. Might be able to switch over to that, huh? Okay, we're gonna aim retrograde. Thrust limiter up to full. Actually, that's kind of a crazy burn. Let's make that half? Less than half? Less than half? 4-second burn, please. I want a 4-second burn. There we go. So now 2 seconds from node. Here we are. Looks pretty spot on to me. A little extra picky about it. There we go. Alright, so that completes the job of the harness here. It will stay in orbit, and we will redock with it. It'll help us redock with the station. Since it has all the RCS controls, this will just go up for rendezvous. It'll dock to the station. It is able to operate independently. So it'll recover this and then bring it to the station. So there we go. We're undocking that at the safe orbit. Now we will burn slightly off stability. Thank you. That was weird. I was going to say retrograde. We burn slightly off of retrograde, just so we don't accidentally fire into the harness there and adjust its orbit. There we go. Now we're going to aim retrograde. And now we're going to slow ourselves down significantly. Full thrust limiter on this. Should have set myself up a target landing zone. That would have been cool. So I'm gonna stop it. What about 150 meters per second orbital velocity? So we will be on descent, and a little closer to the ground, we'll start burning again. Interesting little mission profile. You can see our RCS harness flying off. So get the station up above it. We have the satellite network keeping us in communication at all times. We are looking good. And these landing legs are kind of goofy. See, I thought this would be like, I thought that'd be the first thing to burn its fuel. Let's transfer fuel so it's even. Apparently I set the flow priority in the wrong way. I'm supposed to set it as positive, apparently. Now we can get some highlands here that are pretty far up there on the altitude for the moon. So I don't want to let us go too fast into our approach here. So I will do some quick deceleration burns to keep us around 150 meters per second over the course of several burns. I don't want to slow us down too much, because then we'll be wasting fuel to hover, and we'll just be increasing the amount of time that we need to fight the force of gravity. And that's less than ideal. Nope. Looks like we're kind of coming up on a... Coming up on a crater, so I'm going to just kind of try and force us to come down straight. There we go. Craft is naturally pointing itself upright because it has the retrograde control. We are just kind of heading for a smaller crater, aren't we? It's kind of lame. Didn't really do what I wanted to do. Kind of hard to get an idea of how high we really are. Start slowing us down a little more. kind of glitchy piece of ground, doesn't it? Hitting the control button instead of the shift button there was bad. And there we are. We have a landing. So we can just see if we have any science to send back. Why not? Oh, look at that, we do. Temperature scan for Midlands. We've done that before. Let's just go ahead and save that one. Go ahead and transmit that one. It's looking pretty good. We still need to take back off, which actually will probably take less fuel. Gotta make sure we're pointing in the right direction. So now the station's ahead of us. We can use this kind of logic later to make sure we're burning in the right direction. Fix our final inclination later. Alright, now that we're flying low, I'll take a mystery goo. Oh, apparently that doesn't count. It's kind of lame. Now the good news is when we have a scientist around, we'll be able to reset all these things. Now I could have timed this better with the harness. Ooh. I could have done the angle a lot better too. That's fine. We'll make it work. Have a 9-second burn. Coming up in 1 minute. That's a little off. It'll do fine for what we want. Now at descending node. Very good. Actually want to do a little bit of retrograde maneuvering when we do that. Instead of retrograde, we can do radial change. Still a little bit of yeah, that should do. Another 5-second maneuver. So we'll warp there. Whoop, no we're not. No, we are not. I want this temperature scan, which still looks a little ways away, so I'm going to let that go around for another orbit. And make sure I watch that. I want that temperature scan. Okay, got a 5-second burn coming up in 35 seconds. Switch to stability assist. We're aiming exactly where we want to aim. Then about 3 seconds to maneuver. We'll start burning. Satellite network is doing a great job keeping us in contact. Everything's looking good on that side. Maybe we'll have Kermit on board, so we'll have at least basic flight controls if we don't have radio contact, but right now we need radio contact for anything. Completely inoperable without. Did a little bit of an over. Oh, I didn't. I did fine. Alright, so that has a little bit of catching up to do to get to the harness. And that's fine. I'll have to recorrect its inclination again later. We'll have to do a couple orbits. It's not the end of the world. Meanwhile, I'll be able to time warp for this last temperature scan, hopefully. Oh, that's looking good. It's looking good. It's in contact with like 5 different satellites right now, so that part is definitely reassuring. Should have zero issue keeping this in contact. Where's our temperature scanner? Right there? Okay. That's fine, I can live with that. And then this thing might finally deorbit itself for the last time. Only craft I think I've ever had that's rendezvoused twice, landed, and then reorbited. It's quite a lot for one little task, for one little craft here. This might get close. This might not be in range. Oh, we're there. We're there. Log temperature. Send it. Yes. Okay. Contract complete. Finally. Finally, the last temperature survey of the run. Mission is complete. And this little guy, we are going to bid farewell to. He has served us well. He has deorbited space junk. He rendezvoused with space junk and deorbited after completing a contract for a specific orbit around the moon as a satellite, and then it came down and finished up 2 of our temperature survey contracts that Munsat 1 was unable to reach. So we're finally going to bid farewell. This last drop of fuel has now deorbited itself to avoid itself becoming space junk. So he's made a noble sacrifice for the greater good. He's heading for this crater wall. That might be the end of him. Any chance for last minute sciences? Don't have the barometer thing on here. Nope, he's done. He's gone. He is heading right in. You did well, probe. You did well. Oh, he kind of like skidded across the surface. Look at that. All right. Alright, that accomplished a few things I wanted to do already. Looks like we have new missions available. Back at the Space Center. Lame. Crew report, crew report. Crew report. Surface sample, surface sample. We did get a decent amount of science from that lander, huh? Okay. Let's see what else is going on. I want to see how far we are away from having a Min-Miss encounter here. Min-Miss encounter is in 1 day still. Has this already separated from its booster? That's my question. If not, then this is going to be the time to drop the booster. Except that it doesn't have the retros on it. Why did I do that? Okay. Alright. That's fine. It's good. Okay. That was foolish. Well, maybe we can get that thing to deorbit itself. Here's what I'm going to do. make a modified version of our 3-man crew launch vehicle. We're going to definitely make some changes here. $60 liquid fuel plus 45, so almost 400 liquid fuel. Should be one of these. Okay, bear with me. J2, bear, one of these tanks, upside down, okay. Yeah, we got a stubbier version, more or less, of the K5. Now what I want to do... Actually, I'm going to remove that for a second. I'm going to remove this for a second. What I want to do, I want this to be 1.5 times the fuel in that stage. So I want a 200. This guy. And under that, on top of that, shroud on a 1.875 meter. Build the fairing later. Okay. Put that on. There we go. Design for a second. Fades into the white, looks a little better. Now, we're going to change this up. Take the port off the back. If we look at the engines, see that the Ant is more efficient in vacuum. This vacuum of 2 versus vacuum 2 uses less fuel. So I'd rather have the Ant, which is actually cheaper. So we are going to make it so we can use that by throwing this puppy on. Go. Now we have room for these Ant engines. Very good. It's starting to look very Russian, isn't it? Now, I want to control from here. I'm not done messing with this craft yet. take all this stuff. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna throw a 2-seater on. 2-seater does shave about 0.7 tons. Almost a full ton. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. I forget which one of these is the hatch. Doesn't really say where the hatch is. I don't want to accidentally block it. That's what I'll do. This is going to be lighter, so I will just leave it with the 2 drove chutes instead of the 3. Should be okay. Still going to need the RCS. That proved very vital. Very nice, easy to control because of those. Alright, we more or less have what we want. So make this a 4-sided fairing. There's our fairing. We don't know if this is going to be overpowered, so we're going to want separatrons. Fire clear of it, just to make sure. Take that just a little more. Good. Okay. So the retros will help this booster stage go. We basically have a widened K5 with a boosted second stage. And there is a reason for this, I promise. And we'll get to that in just a moment. However, first, we need to complete this transformation for this craft. And then we'll be ready to flight test it. As always, I will do a proper flight test before we throw any Kerman on it. Did we? There we go. Looks pretty good. Let's just go a little. Like that. Okay. Get these just a little further down on the... Yeah. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now we'll be able to support larger boosters. Without it getting all aerodynamically awful. else do I need to do? Possibly a strut, just to hold the boosters. Make me feel a little better about them. There we go. Could put a Sepratron on each. Or drogue chute. Drogue chute has the benefit of also making sure it doesn't have enough energy to damage anything if it lands near the KSC or on the KSC. There we go. Still not a very expensive craft. We've definitely launched more expensive ones. Let's mess with the staging for a second. This might become a new staple for us. It's been a while since we put in a new launch vehicle. So we want the Bobcat, the 2 boosters, towers all firing at once, and we want the boosters to separate. We want a second stage here to fire. Then we're going to want the separation with that. We're going to want the we're going to want the fairing to blow first, and then this can go. Then the engines. Fire is part of that. The capsule will separate the drogue chutes, then main chute. Make sure there's no crew on board. Very good, no crew on board. No one's stowing away. And let's give it a shot. And let's see if this ends up being as overpowered as I think it's going to be. Because we want to send a 2-man crew into a polar orbit. Or semi-polar orbit. Get some extra biomes we never got. Now, see, this is the kind of thing I wanted to investigate first. See how that's wobbling and how it's tilted to one side? That's bad. Cover vessel. I don't know what's going on there. So we're going to auto-strut some stuff right here in the VAB. Try and fix the goofiness. So we're going to... There we go. That should do us. Sure, again, there's no crew on board. Excellent. Let's give it a shot. And it's still wobbling. And it's still tilted strange. Really don't know what's going on there, and it's kind of frustrating. But let's just go with it and see what happens. Things I want to test for. Number one, that we don't accelerate too much us an uncontrollable high apogee, which does seem to be that we're nearing that case. One of the options there is to tone down the Bobcat significantly. Because we did get quite a high apogee immediately. RCS are set that way. Almost making for a talk with the lander. If it had the right ports, we could probably do it. Very easily, actually. So at 90K is where I'm going to cut it. A little before. Now I'm going to try to make orbit. The J2 makes that kind of fun. Alright, we are in space, so we can deploy the solar panels. Do have to adjust these. So left and right do not go forward by throttle. "24-second burn," so we're going to wait till 12 seconds before. So yep, does seem like this stage is going to carry us all the way through. No problem there. Actually, not bad at all. This could have taken some more tonnage up into orbit. Huh. I'm quite happy with this. I don't think there's any usefulness to bringing this to the station. Guess if nothing else for fuel, right? Wasn't going to. I was going to just deorbit it and complete our trial. But it's got so much extra fuel, it's ridiculous. I think it would be even better if we just tone down the Bobcat a little bit. we can do some extreme maneuvering. Bring us into a rapid intersect. I think that might be what I do. Seem to have plenty of fuel to do it. Yeah, this is definitely a much more powerful rocket than I anticipated. Which is definitely a good thing. Okay, so the only thing we'll have to fix a little bit, timing. Alright, almost there. Oop, overdid it. Overdid it. Okay. Let's make a correction at ascending node. So balance that out. That's good. Now we need to worry about the timing here. 2.2. 0.2. There we go. And that's a very small adjustment. So we can set thrust limiter way down. There we go. 20%. Roughly. This is still gonna have plenty of fuel. This is amazing. This is pretty cool. Because I had no reason to doubt it, did I? It's doing quite well. I'll have to compare the price of the two rockets, the K5 and now this one. And I'll have to get an actual weight class for this. This might be somewhere in the range of an 8-ton or 9-ton. Warp here. I'll have to check on the moon lander pretty soon and see how it's doing catching up with the harness. Yeah, this is quite the powerful rocket. I'm very happy with that. Don't quite know what I'll use it for. I don't have any medium-range payloads planned out. Everything either uses the K-15 or a smaller K3, K4, or K5. Yeah, 0.2 intersect. Let's check on the moon lander. Ooh, it might be coming pretty close to its maneuver. Get that back docked with the harness. A lot of dry runs. But everything seems to be going well. I don't want to jinx it, but it is looking well. So next intersect. Coming up there, we want to do a maneuver here at Periaps. Probably have enough fuel that we could do like an expedited. Yeah, we could probably do an expedited intersect as well. Car alarms are always lovely. Doesn't everybody love car alarms? I hope you can hear that on the stream. It would just make me happy. Oh, wrong way. 0.7 seems like the magic. Come on. There we go. Actually, doesn't seem like it'd be that bad to do that. However, it is just slowly gaining on it anyway, so I guess I should just leave it alone. And do it the cheap way at the moment, since we don't have a lot of fuel on Valentina Kerman Station anymore. Can I focus on Kerbin? No. Doesn't want to let me focus on Kerbin. There we go. Switch back to the crew launch vehicle. Our modified crew launch vehicle. I want to see how heavy this was at launch. Get an idea for how much tonnage we should test this new rocket with. My instinct is telling me that would probably be sufficient for something like a 9-ton payload. But realistically, comfortably, it would probably be more like an 8 or a 7-ton payload if we want the payload itself to not use any of its fuel. Okay, now we're going to need to aim retrograde to target. We've got a lot now to correct because we did this the lightning way. Only 16 seconds away. So I think put this sucker up to full. Freeze the game, because that's normal. And then 5 seconds away, let's try full throttle. Okay, actually close this out pretty much just with that engine. The very last of our fuel will go to matching speed with the station. Where is the station? It's a big honkin' station. It's hard to miss. So where is it? Was that it up there? No. No siree. Oh, right there. Right smack dab in front of me. Okay. Well, let's go back to orbital tracking, and let's aim ourselves prograde, since we are now going to ditch this booster, which still has a tiny, tiny amount of fuel left in it. Just because we have no other way to really use this at this point and recover that. So, off it goes. That's pretty cool. And if we track debris, I want to make sure that that is enough to deorbit the sucker. It is indeed. It is going to burn up back in the atmosphere. That is cool. That is very cool. For flying by the seat of our pants design change, that went really well. Really, really well. Really big shoe. Really big shoe. So we're going to cancel our movement to target a little bit. We're going to now head in for a station approach. Let's see how this fits on the docking adapter. Or if this will somehow get in the way. This engine is cheaper and more efficient than the Spider, so if we end up with a craft that is able to be set up like this, then it just seems well worth it to do it. We'll have a lot more fuel. We'll actually end up, at that rate, we'll end up refueling the station slowly over time every time we launch a crew up. Granted, I did launch this a little light because we don't have the 3-man module. We have the 2-man module on here. But I had an entirely different mission in mind when I designed this. Now I'm just kind of thinking of ways we could be creative with it. And use our newfound experience for the good of Kerbal kind. Ooh, this little guy gets into the thinger, doesn't it? I think I put those higher up on the real deal. I wish I'd launched this with a 3-man module now, because this would be a good return vehicle for our rescues that we're going to have to do around the moon. We should keep at least one Kerman at all times at Valentina Station. So, might be fine using a 3-man craft to return them and keeping this on reserve. Well, the point of our reserve was the fact that I'm not comfortable sending Kerman down on a 2-drogue 3-man craft here. Man, this thing has the old drone core. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, that's right. I did use the old drone core to save money since we're going to have pilots on them. Forgot all about that. Since the core is just a backup. This does look like very distinctly Russian. It looks like a Soyuz that's been clipped down significantly. and widened here. It's like if you took the Soyuz and kind of combined the crew capsule and the orbital module all into one. And made it this awkward thing at the top instead. I know it's supposed to be a Vashgod capsule. Vashgod capsule, however that's pronounced. I've heard it many ways. I'm not sure which is right. Because I don't speak or know any Russian. But yeah, that's the idea of it. It was the direct descendant of the Vostok, the craft that carried Yuri Gagarin into orbit. And they modified it first to fit, I think first to fit 3 cosmonauts and then to fit 2 with a airlock. And that was their first EVA, actually the first EVA. Well, you know, actually, if I really want to get technical, with the amount of fuel on this thing, I could probably pick up crew from the station, do the orbital mission, and then redock. Would be an interesting way to complete the mission. It's not actually a contract, it'd just be something for my own sake. And we are at a dead stop at the station. Look at that. This is just a dream to control. For the... Look at that. There's just no wobble at all. We're going to take the hardest docking node, which is facing this this transfer craft. This time we're making the dock in daylight. Imagine that. Dude, I called you bro. Doing something in daylight? That's impossible. Turn that off. Wanted to roll us into a good position for the solar panels. It does change our orientation, so I do have to get used to it here for a second. Good. Up and down. Left and right. Okay, so we're actually right side up relative to the camera view. Excellent. We're going to set that as our target, which I hardly even need to do on this thing. Control from here. Which I just realized this port is upside down, which could prove annoying. I think I did have that correct on the docked modules that we have over there now. We're doing this mostly by eye at the moment because it's not really giving us the necessary nodes on the nav ball. Which, even doing this by eye isn't so bad. This does seem oddly easy. crazy Yoda laugh going on right now. This is just going so absurdly well. Why is this going so well? For the craft that I never intended to actually take to the station on this launch, or at all actually, it's doing quite well. Figured this would be a test. I wouldn't be happy with it. We'd move on to something else. I didn't even know why I kept the docking port on there. Only thing is, we're going to make sure auto strut's disabled. Yep, it is. There we go. Don't want any Valentina Kerman station style craziness going on. But yeah, that is beautifully docked. It does seem that we would be fine docking many of those to this adapter without there being any worry of collision to one another. It's like there's enough clearance there. We just have to trace this line, which if I have a piece of paper, I'll actually probably put on the screen here and just kind of convince myself that this is a good idea, although I could do it in the vehicle assembly building. Yeah, that actually gives us plenty of room. I'll make sure I'm doing this exactly from the top. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, dude. That would be just dandy. Oh, I love ways to save money. So that gives us more fuel. Cheaper engine. This just seems too good to be true, doesn't it? So I'm going to go back to the Space Center here. Now that we've got everything good on here, all our crew is nice and happy on the station, all 9 of them. Actually, how are we doing in the lab? Science, we've got a little over 2 science right now. That's so reassuring. Nedbo's just sitting staring at the exit to the station. Now the exit actually I think is actually the science module. Yeah, that is where the science module is. So that way, the other way is the core of the station, the crew module, and that way is the the science module. I just like he's just like staring at an exit. That's funny. Now the well, the lab's got some cool stuff in it. I didn't notice that arm over there and the fans back there. That's kind of cool. Oh, there's another setup right there. Test tubes. Look, tests, tubes. Oh, that's really cool. So, yeah, we got our scientists researching here in the lab. They seem quite happy. And we got plenty of crew in the crew module here. Another crew module. 3 more crew. We're back at Nedbo. Nice, happy crew. This is looking like just crazy. I didn't think that this was really gonna go this well. Alright, let's go back to the Space Center. I'm done admiring my my handiwork. Let's go to the new rocket. Let's do a payload weight test. Let's see how many tons I can get into orbit. Now, mind you, I could always just crunch the math later and see exactly what it can pull off. But that's not how I want to do it. That doesn't sound fun. So let's load that since it is still auto-saved. Now, if it is a heavier payload, let me check something. Right now, this is 25,716, right? $25,716. That's what we're going to remember. I want to see how much cheaper the K5 is. Not much. Although I didn't put an antenna. Oh yes, I did put an antenna on this. Okay, never mind. 25,908. 23,779. So about 2,100 credits of difference. And this thing resulted in the craft getting all the heck to the station with almost completely full fuel. Now, how heavy was the payload is the other question. Payload was closer to 6 tons. And it was overkill for that. So I'm going to tentatively save this as K6 would definitely be overkill for 6 tons. We saw that. With that in mind, we did some decent amount of burning. This got way overpowered as well, so we can handle more weight on the ground without any issue. I would say this is about a 9-ton launcher. I'm going to stand by my last statement. So I'm going to call this real quick K9 G1. Hey, it's K9. Didn't even catch that one. Then we could investigate possibly a Muna transfer version, an updated Muna transfer version with heavier payloads. Since we have a lot of engine types for the 1.875 millimeter unlocked as of now. The Wolfhound, the AJ-10, this is set up as a 2.5, but we could use the bare bones, and that would work for this stage as well. This is a hyper-efficient vacuum engine, although it is expensive compared to the other engines that we're using here. Not that much more expensive than the skiff, actually. So the skiff is what we're using, which we also brought that down to the bare version. And that's basically a upgraded swivel. We have the Cheetah, which is natively a 1.5, which I keep saying 1.5, 1.875 is the actual. So we have that. That would be a good upper stage engine as well. It is vacuum optimized, although not as much as our friend the AJ-10, but it is significantly cheaper. It's only 1,000 credits. It's a good way to save on the engine. I think it's lighter as well. 1 ton versus 2.5 tons. So yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it could be a viable option. Let's see, what else do we have that we can use for that? The Kodiak. Kodiak, we could use a large shroud for that and put that in the middle. Although that's basically a Reliant. It's nothing all that fancy. It's an expensive Reliant is what it is. Yeah, and I think that's really our selection. I mean, of course, we could use the Bobcat, but that's a first stage engine. There's no question on that. So yeah, we got a decent selection of engines. So possibly the Cheetah, since that's what we're using on the smaller version. It does save us a little bit of money. That could be what we go to. At least for the lighter payloads. Alright, but we did save that. We can update it later. I am going to save this craft. But first, perfect. I'm going to bring this back to a 3-man capsule, since that is how we'd want to fly it as a station craft, which is what I think we're going to end up using this for, rather than what I originally intended. So this would not be the exit. I don't think the windowed ones are the exits, right? I really want to know which one of these sizes is the hatch. That is not terribly obvious which one of these is the hatch. And I want to say it's going to be this one that doesn't have a window. And I'm really not sure. So I could put a Kerman on the ground and find out, huh? That'd be what I do. So we have 3 drogues there. This guy, pretty much I figured out. Wow, that's not gonna work. I want this to interrupt the RCS thrusters. There we go. Kind of careful how I place those. Even then, I don't want to block the hatch either. Although one of these will block the hatch. Huh. Either have it so I can't... Bet that would probably be fine. Murky thing is going to be the drogues, and while I could do 4, that would be a significant waste of money. So let me do 2. And let me do like a uneven third. There. Looks kind of funky, but I'll take it. Hopefully that handles as well as the other one was handling. The other one's handling really well. And this is now a closer to 7-ton craft. So 7-ton payload. Still gonna call this Gen 3 craft. We're gonna save it. So yeah, about 7 tons. Really not that bad. Probably put a couple stabilizers down here as well for RCSI. Just getting picky now. I want to keep the cost down. This is already a 12,000 credit, almost 13,000 credit vehicle. And if I can compare it to the K5 that we're already using and it is reliable. Oh, the vehicle's almost about the same. 12,336. $12,918. It's like 600 credits difference. More fuel efficient. Okay. All right. Really getting somewhere there. Now let's go ahead and test out my theory. Let's put a good weighted fuel tank up here. Let's put a little payload shroud. Put a hatch there. Service bay. Let's put a reaction wheel system. Put a drone core. Batteries. Put some RCS. Okay, then we need solar panels. We'll use the cheapos since they're going to be protected by the shroud during launch anyway. We need an antenna. Also go for the cheapo. Sticks out. There we go. What else do we need? Is that really it? Kind of off-center these a little bit. This a little bit. So what I'm going to do Add some RCS ports. Almost forgot about those. Don't want the solar panels in the way. Impossible to center those. Be too logical. Anyway, I build a fairing. And into the ferry. And we need more fuel tank. Nope, that's too much. That's closer. Okay. I left it a little light because I'm going to want to put some RCS here. Almost have a 9-ton payload here. If I put that on top of that existing rocket, we'll be using that stage below it to also get to the station, and just burning fuel from here, which is acceptable, I guess. See how light some of these other engines are. 0.25 tons, that's kind of heavy. It's our lightest engine. 0.1 ton. 0.09 tons. 0.02 tons. 0.5. 0.2. This spark is 0.1. So as silly as that looks, if we can get to orbit, I think that'll be fine. Brings us to like exactly 9 tons. Some quick struts. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try the K9. I'm gonna keep laughing that it's K9. K9. Alright, let's see how this sucker does. And with any luck, we'll be sending fuel up to the station. Obviously, there's going to be no crew on there because there's no place to put crew. So let's see. This should be pushing the limits of the rocket. This is all spitballing, so I could be way off. This could just be an awful idea. Who knows? same weird launch thing? I don't think it did. Doesn't seem to be getting the same ridiculous levels of acceleration that we had before. Start our prograde turn as soon as those cut out. I'll try and do that aggressively. Playing the roll of it a little bit. All our heavier rockets seem to do that. Control back a little bit. Let's check it out. Let's check out how it's doing. Not as good as I thought. Okay, let's go for 90-degree mark. Drop the fairing once we're a little further up. This is a flight profile a little more like the K5. Start leveling out. Try and put us into a orbit here. Any old orbit will do, just to prove the rocket. We can now drop the fairing. We can deploy this antenna. Yeah, this might stink a lot. I just realized how much time it's going to take to actually do this. It might reduce a lot once we hit 70,000 here, but I got a feeling it's not. Yep. We are screwed. It's going to take like all this fuel just to get to orbit here. Alright. This might have been incredibly low faded. It's really just SPs. Really like that. Even at 90 degrees, I don't think we're going to maintain apogee. this little guy's gonna burn up on a suborbital trajectory here. I could have dumped fuel into that lower stage and still made orbit, but you know, hindsight's 2020. We're already back on descent now. Running through monopropellant quickly. So, yeah, this would be probably more in the realm of a 7.5, 8 ton launcher then, because this, the other one definitely overperformed for 6 tons roughly. It definitely overperformed. So maybe we'll be calling that a K8. Perigee. Off the monopropellant. Try and save enough to dock if we can. Alright, and barely into orbit. Somewhat decent amount of fuel, though. Launched at a bad window. For the station anyway. But that wasn't really my goal at that point anyway, so yeah, okay. Did it work okay with an 8-ton payload? If this had better thrust, yes. Still has a decent portion of its fuel. That's like the kind of amount of fuel that I would expect a craft to carry for itself. So, really, it's like an 8-ton. 9-ton is just barely making me go, eh. And 6 tons was just way too less. Like, it was just easy. I'm gonna have to take that and rename it. Now, on the flip side of that, I could do the math later and try and figure out, similar to the K3, K4, K5, and Moon inversion math I did. I'm probably gonna try and figure out the math to optimize this for different payloads and different mission outlines. I suspect there will be thrust limiting on the Bobcat when I do that. So this is K8. We're still going to call it a G3. We're going to go back to calling it G3. It is 3rd gen, even if it isn't 3rd gen of K8. Overall, it is 3rd gen. Alright, and we'll kill the K9. As funny as it was to call it a K9, didn't quite go up to snuff there. But, you know, it'll be one of those things now, if I go and open... this crew craft, right? One of the things I could do to extend the range of it, because it is underpowered, or it is underweight. We could change out the engine, and I could, like I said, I could do a Wolfhound here. And that would fit in well. Or, I want to save the money. I thought that was part of the engine there. That was just weirding me out. If I wanted to save the money, I could put a cheetah on there. Now, it does bother me. That the cap is this early American style checkered pattern. I mean, can we mimic it? Yeah, sure. Actually looks kind of cool. Start looking more like a Titan 2. Although at that point the engines would be, you know, all derived from Titan 2, so, you know, it's not maybe that bad a thing to say that it would resemble it. Actually does look a lot like a Titan 2 now that I think about it. The Titan 2 with fins. Okay. It's like a Voshgod launched from a Titan 2. There you go. But yeah, something like this might be better for maybe getting this off towards moon. We wanted to do a direct fire to the moon. And this could potentially work for us. Or, if we wanted kind of a balance between those two, wanted to save a little bit of money versus the skiff, not a lot of money, but a little bit of money. It didn't need it to be particularly special. We could go ahead and throw the Kodiak on. It would definitely need to be back in the Russian paint scheme here. But yeah, you could do something like that. And we could put Cubs on it. Like directly on it. Because apparently we can do that, which is kind of cool. That I didn't know. I wonder if those will fit in the shroud. Okay, that's cool. That makes it insanely expensive. But that does make that really cool. Cool and expensive. So could we do that? Yes. Is that a good idea? Absolutely not. Like, not even close to a good idea, actually, for a second stage. But God, would that be cool looking. We could do either bear, or we could do large shroud like this. That also looks kind of cool. So yeah, you could have something like that. Could always extend the first stage as well. But I think what's probably going to end up getting used is this cheetah. Because that makes this competitive financially. With the K5. Like, K5 is almost 25,000. Very close to 25,000. With the cheetah on this, we're at 26.5. So, yeah, very small change, which is basically just the boosters at this point. This is enticing. Frankly, I probably don't need these drogue shoes. Make it even cheaper. I was doing cheetah, I could probably cut this down too. See, now I'm doing all kinds of craziness. I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted from the mission. That's okay. I'll get distracted this time. So what we could do... something like this would probably go very well. Have a lighter upper stage. Cheetah, so it's going to be focusing on vacuum. That would actually... I'm tempted to say that that would be, like, ideal. It's basically a Titan II with a Voshkot on top, or like a bastardized Soyuz. I kind of want to try that out. I'm impressed with that. I want to try that. That does look cool. I wonder too, because the aerodynamics now are pretty sleek for this. I say a little bit more. Throw basic fins on. Yeah, should give us a little easier time doing our gravity turn. If we take these boosters off, yeah, see, it's still pretty good. I'll think about this. This seems like a winner of a vehicle. Because now, we are definitely at competitive pricing with the K5. Wow, that just makes me happy. I've way zoned out there. I spent way too much time on that. But I had fun. Everyone might not have seen all the craziness going on in my brain, but it was fun. Alright, now. No. Still have a mission to do. Over here. We have a lander that is now more or less caught up to its harness. Let's see if we can get a rendezvous. All right. See if we can make this happen. Next intersect is 21. Okay. We still have some descending node correction to do. That's surprising. Okay. There we go. Little bit of correction there. And we'll do some throttling up. And a 0.2 intersect down to a 0.1 intersect. So a good period of time where we will be directly lined up with our friend, the reusable landing harness. So that is fantastic. We're going to use a very tiny amount of fuel to do that. And this makes me a happy camper. Just turn this way down. Let's do it. Let's get this let's get this maneuver taken care of. What's this thing behind it? Oh, Tomler's derelict is right here in low Kerbin orbit, or low Mun orbit. Didn't even catch it there. We could probably swing on by and pick that up. I might pick him up. I might do that. Rescue mission, accidental rescue mission. Just happened to have a lander in the area. Oop, I'm burning at exactly the wrong time. That's cool. Just roll with it. What's our intersect look like now? 0.3. 0.3 is pretty good still. We didn't goof it up that bad. Is that another one in orbit? Cambo's capsule. Wow. I was expecting crazy orbits like this one. Newsies. We can probably pick some of these guys up here. I'll see if I can get myself in line for one of these guys at least. Probably this guy, Tomler. Add a maneuver there just so I know where our closest approach is. Warp a good ways there. I gotta just stop looking at all the debris. The debris depresses me. And retrograde to target. This is going to be a very easy burn here. Not even trusting the node anymore. Just letting it get nice and close. Beautiful. It's like waiting for your ride to come pick you up. All right. Now, we're going to aim directly at the target. Switch over to it. It is going to aim. Let's see. so it is set up like upside down, which is a good thing. The tiny little docking port down there is target. Wunderbar. Alright. RCS docking mode. Let's go have a dock there. This little craft. Yeah, I was right about not having the stabilizers down here. I should have had stabilizers down here to balance this out. See how it does that wobble. It's ultimately still doing what I want it to do, but it does have that uncomfortable wobble, which does make me just a little worried. And I wish I had put some kind of lights on this thing, because I should have anticipated constantly docking at night. This is something that always happens. Always end up doing docking at night. I don't know why. This is looking pretty good, though. I think we are right on point. About to have a nice soft dock, and my confidence in this setup has just been greatly increased. Alright, so we are docked. So now we'll be able to dock with the station reliably. Huzzah. The question is, can we get to this and do an impromptu rescue? I mean, we're gonna have to go back there and try and deorbit that little stupid capsule at some point anyway. Yeah, let's not risk it. Let's just let's do the smart thing. Let's set the station as target. It's going to be a while till we catch up to it here. So let's see. This thing is just going to taunt me. This is, nope, 1 times, please. Let's get this thing. I don't know what else to say. Let's just get it. Look how close it is. That'll zero us out. Not quite. But end up ahead of it. So we need to let it catch up a little more. Let's reset the ascending node. Oh. 22-second burn. Oh, Boy. 1 second burn. It's right about here. Yep. So then it's going to be a timing issue? No. No, it's going to be a, there we go. That's what we want. 0.5 intersect. Tone down the engine a little bit so I can actually make some kind of a sensible burn out of this. Since we're already here and it's going to be a minimum adjustment to pull this off. I just wonder if I can use the landing legs to kind of deorbit the capsule a little bit. Don't want to risk damaging the lander though. The cool thing with this is because we're going into a lower orbit, we are catching up to the station faster. So this is actually improving how fast it'll take us to get to the station. We'll actually get to the station faster by doing this side rescue. As odd as that is. Oh, and this is lying to me. Oh no, we are getting closer. Okay. Never mind. Sure would be nice if they start putting like docks on their craft. At least I could try and deorbit them. Okay, just cancel that out a little bit. For this node. Okay, now we can aim directly at target. Just back that way. We have a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to try and do this quickly. This guy's gonna have an interesting adventure. That's also dawned on me that this harness is kind of twisted. Might make maneuvering a little difficult when it comes to docking at the station. We'll see about that. Got a lot of stabilizer thrusters, so it might still be okay. How much monoprop do I have? A ton of it. A metric ton of it. Alright, we're going to do some fun stuff. Alright. Okay, get us out in front of it. Cancel our movement. Turn off RCS. Do a little rotation. Just gonna do some weirdness real quick. Intending. Change your spring strength. RCS off. Back to rotation mode. Aim to face the target. We're going to go back to the capsule here so we don't forget about the poor guy. Alright, go for the exit, buddy. Oh, that's right. Like, we'll throw off the course of the debris. Might be a pain in the butt to go get that after the fact. Whoop, wrong way. You're doing good, buddy. There you go. Got our rescue on board. Now that is just gonna be a pain in the butt, huh? I can't set it as target. That's annoying. How come I can't set it as target? What if I want it to be my target? Like, I was trying to get enough science to unlock the claw so I can start deorbiting these when I rescue these guys. But since this guy was just so convenient to go and rescue anyway, I'm And since I've got landing legs on this, that might potentially cushion our blow here. See if I can nudge it with RCS just enough. There's the cushioning. That's beautiful. That's what I wanted. Okay. Almost there. This is getting tense. This is getting very tense. It's like sex on a campground. It's fucking intense. Alright. It's a little fast. Alright, we're gonna stop playing around because I'm gonna end up breaking something there. That was pretty close. Alright. Let's work on getting back to the station. So we're gonna be going prograde now. And we are gonna go... wow. Okay. There we go. That's a lot of unnecessary maneuvering. Just try and see here. We can actually lose our window a little bit. We'll be in front of our target, so we want to go up a little bit. And then we'll get a little closer. Also, we need to do an descending node adjustment. Okay. One step at a time. Oh, RCS off, please. All right. here. There we go. So slight one of those guys. Okay. That's what we want. Yep, that is the ideal maneuver right there. And even at this very low thrust, it'll be only 6 seconds of burn. What's our Midness satellite doing? Midness probe. Still hasn't reached the sphere of influence. Okay. So just a little, you know, side rescue. Unexpected rescue. With a lander. In orbit. What part of this makes sense? I'm not sure. Maybe it all doesn't. Maybe none of it makes sense. Okay. Maneuver's done there. Our actual intersect will be at 0.2. We're been pretty close to the station here. Oh, and this is a retrograde orbit. That's evil. I hate when they do retrograde orbits for rescue missions. It's just mean. Just mean-spirited. Try to limit this all the way to maximum. Should see the station. There it is. All right. Pretty cool. Oop, too much. Now we can thrust limit back down. Get rid of this maneuver node. We no longer need it. Which is for timing anyway. Alright. Now, flip us around. We're actually pretty close to the station already. Just do enough that we could do this whole prograde, retrograde maneuvering.